powered.
The RX-8 also has the missing ingredient the FRS does not: more power.
And this engine, in spite of the fact that it's atypical, in spite of the fact that its reputation is not all that reliable, it's so silky smooth. It feels like somehow this engine is better lubricated and better built than anything you've ever driven. There's no vibration. It just sings up through the RPM, headed toward its 9,000 RPM redline. However, even though the RX-8 is more powerful than the FRS, it doesn't actually feel like it. It's not really any faster, and like the FRS, it never gives me as much as I expect.
The RX-8 makes great power. You're just gonna not think that it does anywhere below 5,000 RPM. You've got to grab this car by the scruff of the neck, smack it around, and make it your bitch. Otherwise, you're not gonna be smiling. Once you do, you will be happy.
Now, I will acknowledge that for every person you hear about who's gone 150,000 miles on their first rotary engine, there's the guy next to him with an RX-8 that's done 3 engines in 150,000 miles. The big trick is these engines burn a lot of gas and they burn a lot of oil. Just during the hard driving of this shoot, we've burned almost a half quart of oil.
Now, what's interesting about all 3 of these cars is they've got electric power steering.
For all of the complaints that are happening right now for poor electric steering racks in cars, each of these 3 cars have electric power steering, and all of them get it right.
So if you've associated electric power steering with something that doesn't feel right when you're driving, or feel good, or have good steering feedback, you're completely wrong. Now, the steering on the RX-8 doesn't feel quite as sharp. But what's nice is, the harder you push this car, the better it gets.
If you compare the RX-8 steering to most cars, it's probably going to win. It is a very informative steering rack, but it feels larger and more disconnected than the other 2 cars.
If you think the handling on the RX-8 is numb, you ought to have your head examined. I would say the steering feels slightly muted, but it doesn't feel numb. This is so strange. I can feel the longer wheelbase, but it plants itself so well.
Now, this R3 makes it far more aggressive. It's got a stiffer suspension, and in fact, this car has the longest wheelbase, but the worst ride on the highway. It just kind of vibrates and pops as you